Clive Wearing was an incredibly prominent musician and musicologist in England. In 1985, he contracted herpes encephalitis, a disease that wreaked havoc on his left and right temporal lobe, as well as his frontal lobe. The herpes encephalitis also obliterated his hippocampus. As a result, he developed severe anterograde and retrograde amnesia. Anterograde amnesia is the inability to form new memories, and retrograde amnesia is the inability to recall previous ones. Clive has a complete inability to keep memories for longer than 10 to 30 seconds, and in his journal entries, one sees that he continues to write and scratch out that he is finally awake after being unconscious for a long time. He recognizes his handwriting, but he denies that he wrote it, which horrifies him. The hippocampus aids in the conversion of short-term memories to long-term memories, so it makes sense that Clive is totally unable to create new memories, seeing that his hippocampus is completely destroyed. However, he maintains implicit or procedural memories. He is able to play piano and read music, though he cannot say that he knows how, and this makes sense because his basal ganglia and cerebellum were not affected by the encephalitis.
Miraculously, he also maintains a deep love for his wife. Anytime she enters a room with him, it is as though he is seeing her for the first time in years, even if it has only been a few moments. When she leaves after visiting him, she arrives to her home to voicemails from him that beg her to come and visit, as he cannot remember her visits. Clive is prone to moodiness and erratic outbursts, and sometimes he adopts such a depressive affect that famed neuroscientist Oliver Sacks believed he had some cognition of the mental prison he was stuck in, as written in the 2007 New Yorker article, The Abyss. Sacks quotes Proust's description of waking from a deep sleep in saying that memory comes down like a rope from heaven to draw one out of the abyss from unbeing. Sacks states that there is no such rope coming down for Clive.
The cause of Waring's amnesia is directly related to the damage of his hippocampus, a region of the medial temporal lobe essential in creating new memories and important in retrieving old ones. This inability to hold on to a moment isn't just impaired in the visual sense, but it also encompasses auditory, synesthetic, olfactory, and verbal information, meaning the amnesia is universal to any modality. Waring's amnesia can be divided into two parts, retrograde and anterograde amnesia. Retrograde amnesia is specific to episodic memories, or in other words, autobiographical memories. Highly learned processes Waring acquired early in life, however, such as language and basic intellectual abilities, are still intact and untouched by retrograde amnesia. The same is true for motor abilities, as we see with Waring's capacity to play the piano even after the onset of amnesia. On the other hand, anterograde amnesia refers to the inability to learn new information after the development of amnesia. What's important to note here is Waring's ability of having a short conversation nevertheless. This is because Waring, like other patients with amnesia, exhibit a spared working memory. This means that, on average, they're able to hold on to 7 ± 2 items in their short-term memory, like a healthy individual with an intact hippocampus, but are unable to retain this information for the long term. Moreover, these patients exhibit another aspect of spared memory, such as skill learning, the ability to gradually acquire a set of motor, perceptual, or cognitive skills that help with performance on a particular task. These findings show two dissociations in memory, one between long-term and short-term memory, and another between skill learning and recognition memory.
So you might still wonder, but why does Waring exhibit the ability to play the piano even after the development of amnesia? Or how exactly does the hippocampus aid in memory? Let us then tell you about relational learning, which the researchers identify with the hippocampus system. Imagine all the separate information you conjoin to make one perception or one memory, like remembering a name, face, height, etc., in order to acquire a memory of a person. Relational learning happens when performance relies on retrieving memory for the relations among items. The hippocampus aids with this type of learning because it binds information from other cortical regions. It takes pre-processed inputs from the environment like object recognition, spatial processes, vision, addition, and language and intertwines them together. The hippocampus acts as a pointer to these domain-specific storage compartments during the retrieval process of a memory. It binds the information not only across different cortical areas, but also within the different cortical areas. patients like Wearing are still able to perform motor tasks, like playing the piano, because these memories are stored in part in the domain-specific brain regions. Because of their hippocampal damage, however, being able to create memory conjunctions or relationships associated with different information is impossible.
Psychologists describe the human memory system as persistence of learning over time. This happens through storage and when information is retrieved. Memory occurs through a process of encoding, storage, and retrieval. When we encode something, our memory system is processing information. For storage, the encoded information is being retained over a period of time. For retrieval, that information is gathered out of memory. The order goes sensory memories, short-term, long-term, and then later retrieval. Working memory refers to the memory that registers automatically. The brain stores our memories by rehearsal. Our brain first takes something that is short-term memory, and after practice and repetition, it can be committed to long-term memory. LTP is the basis of learning and memory. Humans are most likely to remember events that elicit a strong emotional and vivid effect. These are known as flashbulb memories.
The two memory systems consist of explicit and implicit. Explicit memories refer to something that we are able to declare. These can consist of facts or experiences. One of these explicit memories can be the name of our first grade teacher. This type of memory uses the hippocampus mainly. Implicit memories are memories that are procedural. These consist of muscle memories like remembering to play a certain song on the piano. These conditioned responses mostly use the cerebellum.
When we understand memory, we are able to find more effective ways of remembering something. Understanding that having a great memory is something that can be learned and is not genetic can help us in our everyday lives, whether it is remembering an address or a phone number, or committing our information to long-term memory by using helpful memorization techniques that are scientifically proven to be more effective. Knowing how the memory works can help us in our everyday lives, allowing us to excel in school and the way we process everyday information. Some of these techniques include repeating during practice, attaching meaning to the information, mnemonic devices, avoiding interference, getting a good amount of sleep, and testing yourself.